I'm Adam Green with No More News. It's August 14th, 2018, and I've got a very cool couple clips to show you guys. I played this in my live stream last night, but I wanted to make a shorter video so people can see this incredible soundbite from the ADL. I'll get right into it. Let's start with a clip. Well, actually, let's start with, this is the law.
When we think about the State Department,
U.S. State Department law defining anti-Semitism. So by law, anti-Semitism is defined, and the ADL has a problem with it. So they went and talked to Congress about one of their issues with this law.
Department definition, which seeks to codify what anti-Semitism is, the State Department definition claims that stating that a particular Jewish person has more loyalty to the state of Israel than they do to their own country is necessarily an example of anti-Semitism.
So, accusing Jewish citizens of being more loyal to Israel or to the alleged priorities of Jews worldwide than to the interests of their own nations. So, saying that, getting mad about dual citizens in our government, or accusing people of having dual loyalty to Israel, or just, being more allegiance to the Jewish tribe, the Jewish race, the chosen people than whatever nations the Jews reside in from the diaspora. And here's a real-life example of this. This is Alan Dershowitz, Chabad Lubavitch, who says, uses this same thing, says it's anti-Semitic. This is him talking about Valerie Plame when she tweeted the article saying that Jews are behind the wars in the Middle East.
The assumption that Jews always have a dual loyalty and that they only support Israel is a form of anti-Semitism and has to be resisted.
Yeah.
So there he is. It's anti-Semitic to say that they have loyalty to Israel. So now here's an example. This is Wormser. She was a co-author of the the Clean Break papers about regime change for Iraq and in the Middle East for Israel. And she gets questioned on this dual loyalty thing, and this is her response. A cold, hard stare, and basically she's loyal to Israel, and there's nothing wrong with that in her mind.
Yes, many of us are Jewish. There's no need to apologize for that. Most of us, all of us, in fact, are pro-Israel. Some of us more fiercely so than others.
That paper in 1996, the Clean Break paper, that was the paper that led to...
It says Israel can shape its strategic environment in cooperation with Turkey and Jordan by weakening, containing, and even rolling back Syria. This effort can focus on removing Saddam Hussein from power in Iraq, an important Israeli strategic objective in its own right. And right after 9/11, what happened? We took out Afghanistan and Saddam in Iraq for Israel. Oops.
Accusations of dual loyalty.
There is no dual loyalty.
when we think about the state...
What was that stare about? There is no dual loyalty. And then she gave that stare. That means I am loyal to Israel. And I'm going to say it's not dual loyalty because I'm not going to say I'm Israel first. But that's what she's saying. And that was probably the last question. So now back to the ADL. This is their response to this saying that Jews are more loyal to Israel.
Where the truth is that that's one of the fundamental premises of Zionism. And if you go back and look at the statements, say, of Theodor Herzl, who's wrote really what's considered the founding text of Zionism, he argued very clearly that Jews are one people and therefore it's useless for them to be patriots.
Jews are one people and it's useless for them to be patriots. So all these Christian Zionists in America that are pushing for the embassy move and make Israel great again, they really are making Israel great again, and they're not patriots. All these people, Trump saying that he's America first, Alex Jones, America first, Breitbart, and all these conservative online media people, they're all Zionists. They're all in the Third Temple cult. And here's the ADL admitting that, yeah, we admit it. We're pro-Israel first. And our allegiance is to Israel and to the Jewish people. And there's nothing anti-Semitic about it. In fact, what was his exact word again?
Where the truth is that that's one of the fundamental premises of Zionism.
It's the fundamental premise of Zionism that you're not a patriot in America if you're a Zionist. You're Israel first.
And if you go back and look at the statements, say, of Theodor Herzl, who's wrote really what's considered the founding text of Zionism, he argued very clearly that Jews are one people, and therefore it's useless for them to be patriots to the countries in which they reside. So there's times when
Useless for them to be patriots in countries where they reside. You hear that, people? They don't want to assimilate. Other countries take them in when they're persecuted, and then they don't assimilate. They only work together, and then they end up subverting and taking over with monopolies and their in-group preference and their nepotism. And then now they're just trying to sell it off that they have the highest IQs and they're the smartest, and that's why they're overrepresented in all the important industries of power.
when a statement like that is contained in the definition of the State Department would actually undermine the founding premises of Zionism itself.
The thing that makes Judaism...
Okay, so here's another clip, the same thing. This is a Jew admitting that Jews are a corrosive force to the countries that they're in.
The thing that makes Judaism dangerous to everybody, to every race, to every nation, to every idea, is that we smash things that aren't true. We don't believe in the boundaries of nation-state. We don't believe in the ideas of these individual gods that protect individual groups of people. These are all artificial constructions, and Judaism really teaches us how to see that. In a sense, our detractors have us right, in that we are a corrosive force. We're breaking down the false gods of all nations and all people because they're not real. And that's very upsetting to people.
How horrible does...
There you go. So that's all from the documentary, and I had one more clip to show you. This is Sheldon Adelson, Trump's top campaign donor. He owns Donald Trump. He gave him around like $100 million, sat right behind him at the inauguration. When he says jump, Trump says how high, not to mention Trump was bailed out by the Rothschilds in the early 90s, was probably a made man in the Jewish mafia before that. Real quick, I want to show you and give a quick plug to the video I made the other day. It is put a lot of time into it. There's a lot of news in it. Banksta's Paradise featuring Donald Trump. So everybody, under 20 minutes, 16,000 views in a week. It's really good info packed, a good thing to share. So here's Adelson saying that assimilation is killing us Jews. So, I had one more from... Before I play Assimilation is Killing the Jews, here is Sheldon Adelson saying what his allegiance to is. So this is Trump's top campaign contributor. He's the king of the Republican Party. Sheldon Adelson is ready to buy the presidency is the headline. So here we go. An excerpt from Banksta's Paradise. He's the kingmaker. Single person to whom both the Prime Minister of Israel and the President of the United States owe everything. That was in 2012, before Trump. But he bought Trump too.
I am not Israeli. The uniform that I wore in the military, unfortunately, was not an Israeli uniform.
Unfortunately, he didn't serve in the IDF. He served in the U.S. So he's disappointed that he served our country instead of his true allegiance to Israel.
It was an American uniform, although my wife was in the IDF, and one of my...
Trump's Make America First top campaign donor gives $35 million to a foreign country's military.
My daughters was in the IDF, and my two little boys, one of whom will be bar mitzvah tomorrow. Hopefully he'll come back. Hopefully he'll come back. His hobby is shooting, and he'll come back and be a sniper.
Hopefully he'll come back and shoot some Arabs and some Gaza people when they're trying to get over the fence.
For the IDF. All we care about is being good Zionists, being good citizens of Israel. All we care about is being good Zionists, good citizens of Israel.
All we care about is being good Zionists, good citizens of Israel. Trump does not make America great again. And the fact that Alex Jones and InfoWars will never even mention one of the richest men in the world, Sheldon Adelson, who owns Trump, and Sheldon Adelson, who's all Israel all the time, is Israel firster. $100 million to Trump for supporting Israel. This is all excerpts from Banksta's Paradise, so check it out. And now here he is saying assimilation kills. Last video clip, and I'll shut it
In
down.
this country,
The one thing the Jews have been searching for 3,000 years is acceptance and assimilation. And now that we've achieved acceptance and assimilation, it's turning out to be our undoing. And without birthright, there are statistics.
So assimilation is their undoing. So they don't want to assimilate to the countries that they go to. It's not how they want it to be. So those are the clips I have for today. I'm Adam Green for No More News. Videos like this are made possible by your help on Patreon. Thank you to all the supporters. If you may notice that I don't have my usual green background screen. I got a new desk and some new monitors, so I'm got a couple upgrades, and now I got the other end of the room is my background. I'll have to work on cleaning that up, moving my bookshelf over, that kind of thing. Anyway, thanks for watching. Share this around so people know about the ADL saying that Zionists can't be patriots, and that's the fundamental part of Zionism. Pretty crazy soundbite. People need to know about Zionism. All right, Adam Green, No More News, signing off. Thanks for watching.